In every single conversation we have, there are really two dialogues happening at the exact same time. There's the one you hear with your ears, and then there's the silent one you see with your eyes. Today, we're going to decode that silent conversation. We're breaking down what it takes to really understand this unspoken language. So let me ask you this. Have you ever walked away from a chat feeling like something was off? Like the words you heard didn't quite match the vibe you were getting? Yeah, that's a super common feeling. And it's because most of the time, we are missing half the conversation, the nonverbal half. And this right here, this is the core of the problem. What this explainer is built on is the idea that miscommunication isn't just bad luck. It's a failure to see the whole picture. We hear some words, we see a single gesture, and bam, we jump to a conclusion. But without that full picture, we often leap in completely the wrong direction. So here's our game plan for seeing that complete picture. First, we'll dive into what this silent conversation is all about. Then, we'll decode the fundamental rules of analysis. After that, we get to the fun part, reading the telltale signs. And finally, we'll see how to turn what you observe into a powerful insight. All right, first up, this silent conversation. This whole section is about bridging that massive gap between the words people say and what they're actually feeling. It's really about learning to listen with your eyes. Seriously, think of it like you're gaining a brand new sense. This isn't about becoming a mind reader, not at all. It's about developing a really sharp, nuanced understanding of why people do what they do. It's how you learn to see the hidden messages that are being broadcast, loud and clear in every single interaction. Okay, so how do we turn this into a real, structured skill? Well, that brings us to our second section, decoding the fundamentals. And this is so important because reading people isn't some kind of parlor trick. It's a science, and it's built on a really clear set of principles. Now, these 4 principles you see here, they're basically your filter for getting it right. First, you've got context. I mean, crossed arms at a funeral means something totally different than at a tense business meeting, right? Second, consistency. Is this a one-time thing or a pattern of behavior? Third, and this is a big one, baselining. What's this person's normal? If your friend who's always fidgeting is suddenly sitting perfectly still, that's what you should pay attention to. And finally, congruence. Do their words match their body language? If someone says, "I'm so excited," with a flat face, well, you should always trust the body. All right, now that we have the framework, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Section 3 is all about reading the telltale signs. Think of this as a head-to-toe tour of the body's most revealing signals. And where else would we start but with the eyes? They're called the window to our soul for a very good reason. They are just incredibly expressive, and they can show you what a person is truly feeling, a lot of times without them even having a clue they're doing it. So what are we actually looking for? Well, things like pupil dilation can signal interest or excitement. The direction their eyes move can even hint at whether they're remembering something or just making it up. And of course, the intensity of their eye contact, that speaks volumes about things like confidence, intimacy, or even aggression. Okay, moving from the eyes, we've got the rest of the face. And it's like a tiny orchestra. The eyebrows, the mouth, the nose, the chin. They all work together to send these complex signals. But the real secret? Learning to spot micro-expressions. These are lightning-fast flashes of true emotion that can leak out before a person has a chance to hide them. And this slide is just a perfect illustration of one of the most common signals out there, our arms. On the left, you see those defensive postures, arms crossed, creating a literal barrier. But on the right, the channels are wide open. The posture is relaxed, it's receptive. This one simple cue can tell you in an instant if someone is open to your idea or completely closed off. But hey, it doesn't stop with the arms. Our hands are constantly talking, from a confident handshake to anxious fidgeting. Touch is also huge for building trust. And then you have our feet. The source material calls them emotional feet, and for good reason. They are often the most honest part of the body because we just don't think to control them. So if someone's feet are pointing toward the door, their brain might already be halfway there, no matter how polite their words are. And finally, there's the space we're not even touching. Space analysis is all about the distance we keep between ourselves and other people. And that distance is not random at all. It's a silent signal about our relationship. Though of course, you always have to factor in things like culture and gender. So we've looked at the principles, we've looked at the specific signs, but how do you actually pull it all together? That's the last piece of the puzzle, and it brings us to section 4, from observation to insight. This is where we turn all these little details into a real professional skill. See, a certified practitioner follows a clear process. It starts with observing, ethically. That means without your own biases getting in the way. Then you analyze accurately, running everything you see through those 4 core principles we talked about. And finally, you report professionally. You take this collection of subtle clues and turn it into a clear, useful insight. And this is why this is such a game changer. This is the transformation. Once you master these skills, you're not just guessing anymore. You can actually read and interpret nonverbal cues, which will just massively improve your relationships. And for some, it can even open up a whole new career path as a consultant or an expert in this field. So I'll leave you with this one final thought. The next time you're talking to someone, pay attention. Not just to the words they're saying, but to the entire silent conversation happening right in front of your eyes. Because the real question isn't just what people are saying, it's what are the people around you really saying?